Good afternoon, good evening to the one who just joined, and good morning, according really to where you're connecting from. This is our monthly product tour. So we're gonna go and make a full-on deep dive, mainly specifically on the product, and show you the key features that are out there on the platform, our platform, and so on. And the key part, let's say, many times, we through our webinars, we do as well cover different topics. There are several webinars that are more on the governance side of things. There are other webinars that are on some expert series with some specific topics that pertains family businesses. And then actually now in July as well, we're gonna have some other webinars specifically deep dive on a certain specific feature that I'll show you in a bit. Of the platform, but basically, let's start from this page here. I don't know how much you know about Trusted Family and basically what we do, but the key concept of the company is that we are kind of structured today into three pillars. The first one is the Family OS, so the platform that we're gonna see in a bit. And here, like you can see directly on our website the different explanation of some of the features that are present there and so on. Second part, and this is a key part actually, not only for the activities that get organized like this webinar, but it's even for our clients, is this customer success, and we call it family success. Since we work, with a lot of different families at a global level, more than around 210, a bit more than that. And basically, family success is really the group within our company that allows our clients to make successful projects on the platforms. And here as well, you can see some deep dives concept, basically onto different topics or different type of client of ours. And family success as well are the ones as well that help coordinating different activities and webinars that gets organized. And then last but not least, there's this community aspect, the community pillar. And this one, it gets structured into three different topics, let's say. First one in key concept is this part of a recent project that we launched in May, and it's super useful for all of our clients because it's a way of bringing together around a table or through a platform our clients. And basically the key part there is that according to the type of client, to the role that they play in the family or in the family office, they are able in that situation to, through the family community platform, to basically ask questions, confront themselves with other family members or other, people that are in that same position. So imagine you're the head of the family council, for instance, and you're newly appointed there, and you wanna confront yourself. Well, if you're part of our family community, then you're able through the platform to confront yourself with other people that are in that same role, basically. So this is super useful. Then second part of the family community is this concept of events. And here you can see, really, I suggest you keep always an eye on this one, or maybe like subscribe to get notified, because there are a lot of activities that get organized. Now you can see, well, obviously today's product tour, and then there's a super interesting actually upcoming webinar, which is the power preparation. And there's a testimonial from the Al-Zamil family, directly from Saudi. And basically, they're gonna kind of deep dive over what's their experience in their family and so on. And I highly suggest actually to subscribe to this webinar. But as well, you can see here all the past webinars that took place. And here, in this case, there are many different topics. As you can see, there are some that are a bit more country-specific in terms of language, and then some others instead, like this one, TF Connect. This is a sessions that get organized every now and then together with our clients. And obviously, it's private directly for our clients as well for non-disclosure, but they're super useful and super interesting because you can really kind of deep dive over some specific topic. In this case was how to engage with in-laws and non-shareholders. So what role they can play and how to leverage maybe the platform to give them a role and to have them on board with all the family activities, basically. And so I really suggest actually visiting this page of community and events to really see all the amazing activities that my colleagues actually are organizing every month. And but then let's deep dive a bit more on the story of Trusted Family, which I don't know again how many of you know it perfectly, but actually it's a company that was founded within two families by sole need. And that's why actually we call it always, we say, we are four families by families. It was actually founded by two next gens of two large family businesses in Belgium, back in Belgium. Basically, they had met when they were next gen in through an international organization, a family business organization, and basically they were realizing that the communication across the family, the participation, the engagement, and so on, wasn't really super efficient. It wasn't going the best way ever. And so this back in 2007, they really wanted to create a digital holistic tool that would gather all the stakeholders that are around the family wealth together and collaborate and communicate and share information, foster transparency, and so on. We've seen really a lot with our clients how much, if there's transparency, if there's participation and engagement, obviously the family business gonna thrive across generation and gonna make it smoothly. Whereas if there's all these different let's say aspects like transparency, communication, so on are lacking, then that's when problem could arise. So the key part is really anticipating that. And in fact, we see really, we work with families that are actually collaborating on the platform with more than 800 stakeholders. And we even see families that are visionaries and they start very early, when there are 4 or 5 family members who starts getting organized through a platform really for the future generation. So really the key concept for us is, start as early as you can and be a visionary and make sure you really thrive across your generations. And here you can see briefly a little bit the creation of the company, starting in 2007. Then we started growing. We opened in the US market. We were really present there, actually. Then we opened an office in London in 2018. And this led us to today basically working with, as I mentioned earlier, to be more than 200 families. And the key part is really that we're really at a global level. And the super interesting part as well that comes with our family community aspect is that you see really many different cultures, people sharing from different aspects, different family structure, and so on. And in the end, as you can see from this slide, obviously, each family has its own ecosystem. And the key concept is that each family wealth, each family business has different stakeholders around the family wealth. Some of them, they will have a family council, some other has a family office, some have both, some are working with an advisor, some have some external shareholders, and so on. And the key concept for us is really to, creating the digital product that sits in the middle of it and allows all the stakeholders to really seamlessly collaborate in the most efficient way and distribute information and share and so on. And many times, we receive, when we start talking with clients, is always the situation that we call it a beautiful mess, because they're really using like a lot of different type of platforms and information is scattered really around. And the key concept for us is to make it a holistic solution and secure. So making sure everything is to one place, that place is super secure, super safe, and that everyone is kind of connected according to the role that they play. But I think then best is, well, here you can see again, like what I mentioned earlier, the key 3-pillar concept of our company. By key as well, the key part today is really deep diving into our platform. So let's go and deep dive here. Let me refresh the page. So this is the landing page of the platform. Since it's a product tour, let's make sure I cover all the different features that are here on the platform. So landing page of the platform, here at the left, you have a set of features, like all the personal activities that each user of the platform will have their fix. And then here at the center, you have the flow of information of what's happening in the platform. And then here you have like several shortcuts for spaces. And what do you mean by spaces? Here you can see it. Basically, spaces is really the backbone, we call it, of the platform. And this means really that, according to how your family or your wealth is organized, you're gonna replicate that kind of structure directly into the platform. And so by this, in this case, you can see Wayne family office. You can see here is a fictitious family, obviously. But in this case, it replicates kind of the governance and the structure of a quite large family, basically, that already has some structure in place, because you can see a family council, you can see a philanthropic activity, you can see an investment committee, and so on. But this is just bear in mind today, if you are covering kind of you come from a smaller family, take it from a perspective more of the features rather than the structure itself. Because really, as mentioned earlier, there's really different type of clients that we have, really 5, maybe families that are 5 family members using the platform, all the way up to this example where there's a wider group of family that starts getting organized and so on. And so concept of spaces is really, I mentioned, the backbone of the platform. And what I mean by spaces is that according to the role that you play for the family, each one of you, basically you will have accessibility to certain spaces and not others, and visibility especially of certain spaces and not others. So let's imagine just for a moment that, for instance, I'm an Exchange member. So I access the platform and I see here spaces. I will only see the existence maybe of this space here, the NextGen space. And since I'm not part of the shareholders, I'm not part of the board group and so on, when I access the platform, I will only see the existence of this space and not these other spaces. Or for instance, let's say from another side, I'm a shareholder and I'm part of the board. I access the platform and will only see the existence of these two spaces here and not all the others. And this allows you really well already to kind of think and put yourself in the mindset of how granularly you can kind of manage the accessibility to the platform. And then furthermore, within each space, you can then define what are the rules. So there are people who will be able to upload and post document and do certain activities, and some others who will not be able to do so. Some others, for instance, will be view only into one space. And so this allows you really well to monitor and manage well all the stakeholders that are around each space as well. So, and again, here, as mentioned earlier, you see the flow of information, but then in this case, you can see it as well. Okay, I'm part of the family council. So here's the communication from the family council. I'm part of the investment committee as well. Here you can see there's something that got posted from the investment committee. And then you can see here, people can react, can comment, you can reply in thread and so on. But then let's deep dive into one space. Little note here, you can see birthday as well. In this case, it's a family, so maybe you want to make it a bit more informal as well, the platform. So yeah, I log in, I can see that Arnold's birthday is upcoming. And so in this way, I can maybe get notified, or I can tell him like happy birthday on his birthday. But then let's deep dive into one of the spaces. Let's take the board, for example. So the board, so in this case, okay, we're into one space. You can see shortcuts. Shortcuts leads obviously to several part of the spaces or folders. So in this case, there will be a folder that has monthly board reporting and the KPIs and so on. And so in this way, you get into the space and you can kind of just click and it redirects you directly to the relevant papers that you want to have. This is all customizable, obviously. And as well, the concept of spaces, you can, let's say, in this case, I have a second board I want to create and so on. I just create a new space. I can go here and I add the space. I put the color and so on. And then I can start inviting the relevant people there. Or maybe let's say you have a building, or the house or the assets, house in the mountains or stuff like that. You can just start putting all the documents there directly from into that space, the relevant space for that situation. Then delving deeper again into the board space, here you can see the flow of information. You can see that there's a board meeting that was organized. There's documents that got posted and so on. Then I can see, for instance, here, Eduard posted the agenda of a meeting. And in this case, as you can see, for instance, for me, is a view-only document. So I'm trying to click, but I cannot edit anything. And so this allows you really to understand kind of how things can be structured and the accessibility to documents and so on. Then let's say I'm in a call together with the other board members. I'm taking notes. I can go here. I can say review something and so on. But then let's say I have to share my screen for some reason. I can just make this note private. I talk about whatever I want to talk. And then like once I stop sharing, I go back again here and like take notes again and so on, add bullet points and everything. Then here, you can monitor as well the accessibility to certain notes, agendas, and documents. In this case, you can see really well, okay, who are the explicit owners, the implicit owners, and so on. There's an audit log as well to what happened with that kind of agenda in this case, or document. Let me actually take a document that shows it better. Here it is. So for instance, here I can see, I go on the access side of things, and I can see, okay, who's the explicit owner, in this case, myself, implicit. I can see the audit log, okay, who removed or disabled or changed the security structure of things. Because again, here, as you can see, like I can prevent the download or maybe allow it to everyone that has accessibility to this space. And as well, for instance, let's say we want to prevent the screenshot part, I can add the watermark or remove it. And in this case, this allows really well to monitor. If you take a screenshot, then there's a watermark, you can really like share it around, but you can see who took that screenshot basically. And then audit logs, obviously here, you can see that I just changed the rules. And in this way, like it got monitored and so on. So you can really monitor well who is doing what with a document. And then here, again, like as I mentioned earlier, we have digital signatures as well on the platform. And in this case, you can see that, okay, one person still need to sign the document and so on. I can see the details. Okay, is the other Enrico, for instance, so I can send a reminder, or maybe let's say that there are multiple people, I can remind to everyone and so on. Or maybe, let's find a document. Maybe that has multiple people that needs to sign. Because as well, like if it is a document where multiple people need to sign, for instance, you can as well like put it as a document that got signed maybe just from for all the relevant people, and at the point you reach the quorum and so on. Here it is. Let's take a view to this one, for instance. Well, okay, maybe this is not the perfect example because I can see that not everyone has signed here, but this is just I wanted to deep dive on the concept that, let's say not all people sign a document, for instance, and you can just, point it, okay, complete signature in a way that if you have reached the maximum, the quorum of people that need to sign the document, well, that's okay. And then, so you can sign it as complete, basically. So continuing then on a spaces level, again, Spaces is always about, sending documents, but it's about as well organizing events. In this case, we're in a board level. Here you can see obviously the calendar. You can, really important, it gets used really a lot. You can sync it with your external calendar. And the key concept here as well is really seeing all the upcoming events that you're part of, but even all the past events. So there are families that they wanted to see maybe, 2 years ago, we had a board meeting. Okay, who participated there when we decided to acquire that company? Okay, who was there? Who discussed what document were discussed and so on. And here you have it directly on the go without having to go, to maybe contact someone from the company and go and check it out, or have them researching into the drive and so on. You have directly here everything. And you can see as well that within an event, there are several like information that can be shared also. There's a classic information regarding time and date, maybe a conferencing link, a location and so on. But then as well, when you have, especially with families, when you need to meet with multiple people, it's always tough to find the right time and date. So you can propose multiple timings and so on, and then you get people to vote. And in this way, I can see, okay, everyone is a bit more comfortable to meet at 10 a.m. on that day and so on. So I can set the meeting for that day. And this is really helpful when dealing with multiple family members. For instance, let's say you have a family council, you have the head of the family council. It's always tough to find the right time and date and so on. You just send it here, you propose several timings and everyone votes and so on. And in that way, you can really then find the right time and date for everyone. Then the event package as well. Here, you can post several type of documents that needs to be discussed and so on. Here you can see like documents that need to be signed and so on. You can post forms, so you can ask people to vote. And in this case, do you approve the budget? This is a simple question with multiple choices answer, but this one can be, forms can be open-ended questions, they can be close-ended, it can be multiple choices, it can be regarding acquits, it can be regarding dividend strategy, it can be regarding acquisition. As you can see here, and try to create a new form. And in this way, you can see that there are different way to ask things into a form. So you can like ask for dates, maybe create a list of checkboxes or multiple choice. So you can really customize it and tailor to your need. And this is really useful because, like when it's about family business, you're dealing with more formal activities like a board, and there is like a bit more official voting and so on. But maybe you're dealing as well with family gatherings, and family gatherings maybe is about like, okay, what activities you want to pick between activity A or activity B for the family gathering day, and so on. So this is really super useful and can be used really in many different ways. And as well, like this is a recent update. You can make responses as well anonymous, and this really helps. For instance, when you gotta gather opinions by the wider family group and so on, it's super useful because you can like everyone feels at a point comfortable enough to vote and like to express their opinion because they're gonna be anonymous basically. And as well, you can limit one response. Now, maybe if you have open-ended question, let's say you work on a mistake or something, then you can like allow people to edit their response basically. So this is for what pertains forms. And then as well in an event package as well, you can as well post maybe a folder that is stored already in the driver of that space, and that helps kind of monitoring. Maybe in this case is a acquisition for company B, so you want to kind of understand better. Okay, what are the documents regarding the company? Let's define them and so on. And then as well, each meeting and each space as well, you have a section where you can kind of create a new document. And in the document is basically kind of a note taker. You can choose as well from some templates and so on. Or for instance, you can just continue like editing or use your own template and so on. You put here, you create maybe, let's say, a template, you copy and paste into another document. And here you can as well put the note taker and so on. And then super useful, with families, it's always tough to to make everyone accountable for what they have to do. Because many times there's a comfortable situation saying, yes, but we have family members. So like, my cousin is not going to chase me for everything. Well, in this case, you can kind of assign to-dos directly to people. So for instance, you can say review strategy and so on, and then I can assign a due date for someone and so on, save, and then I can assign this to Arnaud, for instance. And in this case, Arnaud will see directly this to-do directly into his to-do page, basically, which is here. And in this way, you can really, assign tasks and make sure that people do what they have to do. For instance, review. In this case, I know that I have to review a document for the board. I have to refine the budget for the shareholder space. Maybe I have to publish a new investment format for the investment committee and so on. And it allows really well to, to assign to-dos and so on. And actually, this is in Q3 as well. We're working now to make it even more seamless and more efficient, this to-do feature. Then going forward, each space has its own file section. Obviously, it's an archive where you can structure it and store all the relevant information that you want. And in this case as well, we created actually a concept. If we look at this family space as well, and we look at the archive, we created this concept of bridges, because we know that every family already works with external drives and so on. And so in this way, we created this bridging concept that allows you to see a file that is stored externally into another basically drive. And here you can see this is a file, a strategic review, stored externally to the platform, but from the platform I can see it basically, and I can keep on working on it and so on basically. And then conscious of time as well. Each space has its own kind of member directory internally, and so this allows you, okay, who's part of that space and where are they located. In this case, we're in the family space. I can see, okay, where are all the family members located. I can see that here, okay, in Mexico, there's someone. Okay, no, I can see, okay, in Mexico, there's Avelina. I can see here, I can see her address, her family branch, and so on, her governance role, and so on. And this is super useful, to maintain contacts, do communication, and even when you look at it from a family office perspective, to communicate with your advisors or communicate with other, space members and so on. And then here you can as well tailor it. You have a table view, and in this way you can maybe, let's say I want to communicate with all the people that are younger than 30, for instance. So this is going to be the next gen of the family. Now you filter it, and here you can see, okay, all the ones that are basically younger than 30. And this is really helps into maintaining, the right communication and tailoring kind of the distribution of files and so on to families or advisors or collaborators and so on. And then each family space comes as well with its own family tree. This is super useful, especially for the wider family. Now here you're going to recognize this family, but our developers had fun into structuring it. And basically you can really monitor, okay, who is who, how people are connected, okay, what are the life events of that person, whether they attended the summer camp or not, and so on. And then this one, you can make it as well, like, you can change the view, you can see the pedigree view. So, okay, who's a bloodline kind of from that person and so on. And so you can see really what's the heritage from the founder basically of the wealth, and what's the succession from that. And you can see as well the list view and so on. And then you can click into someone, and you can see again, like all the details of that person and so on. And then two other, conscious of time as well, two other interesting features. One is this concept of statistics. So really, let's say you launch the platform and so on, you want to see, okay, how's the project going? How effective is the platform? How is it working for us and so on? And so this concept of statistics that allows you really to monitor well, the members, the active members on the platform, what's the login method, so how secure is the platform. We have two-factor authentication, we have the code generator as well, like your home banking and so on. So there are different ways of logging in securely. And then there are like platform trends, so you can see, okay, what content is driving more engagement according to the months and so on. What are the most active spaces in terms of from the platform. So you can see, okay, here the family is a bit more active rather than next gen. They're really not active. So I can make sure maybe, okay, I have to tailor better the next gen communication in this case because they're not engaging enough and so on. And then I can see as well the top member activity according to each member. And this allows you really well to understand, okay, how's the platform going and so on? What's the most successful? What are the top announcements and so on? What content is driving more engagement and everything. So this is really super, super useful. And then another interesting feature is this concept of vaults. So imagine this one, actually, I suggest you is the one I mentioned earlier. I suggest you as well subscribing to a webinar we're having in July. We're going to be hosting. So check out for that because it's really a deep dive on this feature of vaults because it's super useful, especially from from an advisor or family office perspective. Because imagine you're dealing with multiple family members, obviously, and you want to share, let's say, the tax files or documents of a single family member. How do you do that? You will not do that directly here on a space, because in a space you will have other family members as well present there. You will not going to create a space for each single family member. So that's where the vaults comes handy, because as well here you can create vaults for a group of people or just with one single person. And in this case, I created a vault tax advisor Arnaud. So I know here I can share all the tax files with Arnaud. I can send them to him, ask him to sign or ask him to vote over something. And in this way, he's gonna be signing it and so on, and he's gonna see directly all these documents that got sent to him directly here in his vaults. And here, so vaults are really a different way to share documents and files than this spaces structure, basically. And in this case, I can see I have a vault as well with all my family. For instance, let's say my PA is willing to send me directly through my family vault all the the documents for a flight, for a trip or something, or maybe directly to me my my passport, copy of my passport, and so on. So this is super useful when dealing with with multiple family members, specifically from an advisor perspective or for a project basis. Let's say that you have a specific project and you want to create a vault, so it's just a way of sharing files directly into that vault, basically. And then here you can add your favorites, so you can see like all the different, you can put favorites like the vaults, you can put favorites and maybe some documents and so on. And then one last interesting feature to see is the concept of chats. So chats are there at a space level, at an event level, and at a person level. So you can like communicate directly with other people directly here. So like, hey, how is it going? And is it going? And then basically, Ermin will receive a message, not only on the platform, according to the notification that she set up, basically, but she will receive as well a notification directly on the phone, because everything that you see here as well, most of the features and so on, are as well, you can see all of them as well from an app perspective. We're both on iOS and Android. And so really this helps into making things really smooth and easy to use. And it's really fascinating the way families are collaborating a lot. And maybe someone is traveling, need to sign a document or approve a certain vote or approve certain files, and basically he can do it directly from the phone. And that's super useful and super handy when dealing about communication for the family. And the key concept is really, whether you're a wide family or a small family, is really start thinking of structuring whatever is family related, family wealth related, doing it through trusted family platform, rather than having things scattered into multiple, platforms, drives, and using different apps and so on. So that's in a nutshell, trying to stay within the half an hour limit. Basically, what the product is. Then we have as well here a search tool where you can search documents or files across the spaces and so on. This is very useful, specifically when you're part of multiple spaces and you understand better, like, okay, deep dive over certain documents, look for a document specifically, and so on. So this is let me see actually if you have some questions as well, because many times there are some useful and interesting ones and so on. Okay, I can see one. Can I see some let's see, where is it? Okay, here it is. Is it possible to know some live cases of other families? Yes, let me actually show you directly here. I quickly go back to sharing my screen. So if you go here directly on the community aspect of things, and you check here, there are stories. And here you can see the stories, of all the different, we have a really strong family community. Obviously, so the families that are willing to share a bit more about their experience with trusted family and so on, you can see it here. And directly you can you as well monitor, okay, what are the new posted, new articles being posted and so on. And you can really see the experience of these families, how they use the platform, how is it working for them, what are the key part, that they're leveraging and so on. And as well, again, then if you have any further questions or you wanna some further information, go on our website actually, and here you can directly book a demo, and I can show you, do a deep dive over certain specific topics of the platform, or whether you have some other questions regarding other families and so on. I'm always happy to share, and we're always happy as well to exchange, and learn as well from the needs of our other families. Because many times for us, the key concept and what drives really the evolution of our product is sharing and confronting it with other families. And our clients, what you see today, the product that you see today is really the evolution of an experience of working with, again, more than 200 families in the last 12 to 15 years. And so that's where it becomes super useful. And so feedbacks is really what generates the developments of our new features and the evolution of our product. So thank you very much, everyone, for attending. I really suggest you to subscribing to the webinar that is upcoming on the 17th with the Alzamil family. It's going to be an amazing testimonial there, an amazing story. And I hope to see you soon, probably in another call, or let us know if you're passing by Brussels, by any cities in Europe or in the US where we are located, or in South America as well. So like we can exchange. We're always happy to confront and to meet up. Thank you very much. Goodbye.